Hi, this is your host Swapnil Bhartia and welcome to TFI Let's Talk. Today we have with us Soufiane Amar, CEO of Shreds.AI. Soufiane, it's great to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
It's my pleasure to host you here today. I would love to know a bit about the company, talk a bit about the company, what problem that you folks are trying to solve here.
Shwartz AI is actually the first AI capable of generating complex software from simple description. And by saying complex software, I am talking about software that businesses use for energy, banking, automobile industry, etc. So this is a technology breakthrough, and it will reduces cost and time to market by more than 80%.
And what is your primary mode of operation? What is your product? What does your service look like?
The AI, the model is used through our platform, which is a SaaS. A company register to that platform and start building their software right away. If you have specification for your project, you have a document, you can upload it there, or you can use Shwartz AI to generate that spec for you. Shwartz AI is capable of generating the architecture diagram and go from there to generating the code for your software. And no matter how the complexity of the software is, it is capable of handling it. And it have also a very interesting feature. The code is generated in a way that is isolated. Each feature is isolated feature. And you can push these to a marketplace that we have, where there's a lot of developers that can review your code and make sure it does exactly what it does. Because we know that there is no code generated by AI that a business can accept to send it to production without human validation. So you can either validate it in your company or push it to the marketplace for a faster and cheaper code validation.
Is it purely code generation or code generation assistance?
Actually, it's purely code generation. It's far beyond what you can see now in the market. You just explain your project. You explain how it should work, and it will generate the full code of your project right away.
Can you talk about the underlying technologies that you folks are leveraging, and also if there is any open source aspect?
Shreds have a clever technology. So instead of going to instead of competing with big models like ChatGPT, Gemini, etc., we rather built a model that focus on managing the complexity of the software, how components interact with each other, how they integrate, etc. And then for solving more complex problem related to the code itself, it have a meta AI capability. Means it can use other AIs for solving some critical problems. It's like Google. It can rank and classify AIs, know their weaknesses and their strengths, and then call the right AI at the right moment for solving the right problem.
Now, when it comes to code generation software, is it basically about certain industries, certain kind of code generation, or because there may be companies they just want to do something which has never been done before? Because when we look at leveraging any AI, Gen AI, you do need to have established model. They can do repeated tasks. They cannot create anything from thin ether or vacuum. They do need data. So is there any kind of limitations, any scope that, hey, yeah, these are or it's like, no, it doesn't really matter. It could be any kind of software that you would hire a person to write. Our code generation can help there.
This is actually the power of Shwartz AI. Since it have meta AI capabilities, it can actually call the right model to solve that problem in that specific problem. So if you come up with a use case where you need, like, for example, solving some math problems or doing some forecasting or things like this, some complicated stuff, Shreds will generate that code for you generate that software, actually, the components, manage that complexity. But when it comes to solving that problem, that math problem, or that forecasting, statistics, etc., it will call the right model that can solve that and get the answer from it.
What kind of companies are ideal target for you?
We are targeting actually startups. Why? Because this is a new process. This is a new way, new workflow in development. So startups usually don't have an established workflow, and they are open for new ideas, new technologies. So Shreds can integrate easily to their workflow. And the second thing that startups need to build software very quickly and go to the market very quickly as well. So Shreds is the perfect solution because it allows for going. It increases time to market by more than 80%, and it allows also to build software at lowest cost.
What kind of team should a company have to leverage Shwartz AI, or it doesn't really matter? It could just be three co-founders with a team of two developers, or do you need folks? I mean, how much homework they need to do to leverage Shwartz?
Actually, we've conducted a few benchmarks on some existing projects. We originated some existing projects that I've already worked on, or one of my colleagues, and we measured how much developers we need per project. And actually, to give you an example, if you need 6 months for a software to build a software and 10 developers, you can then get only 2 developers, and you can achieve the same in 3 weeks. So you just get the normal number of developers and money you need for a software, and just remove like 80% or 85%, and you get that right formula.
So when we look at Shwartz, does that mean that it will take the job of a software developer? We won't need them anymore, or it's more or less like it will actually kind of make the job of software developer easier, because it will do a lot of basic mundane tasks, but you will still need creative people. I mean, we will still need people like Soufiane to create companies, solve a new problem. And of course, your AI will be there to do some basic coding. So how much threat is Shwartz to jobs?
That's an excellent question. Well, in general way, I don't think AI will steal develop jobs in general way. But for our case, for developers and for AI generated code, well, actually, it's the opposite. I think Shred's model and the other models that may come after will increase the need of developers in the market. Why? Because these models make software cheaper. They make it easier to develop. They make it easier to evolve. And this allows companies, small, medium, and larger companies, to rely more on software than before. I've worked with companies, big companies, billion-dollar companies, that hire people full-time to do some job just because they don't want to invest in developing a software that would cost $1 million. If they pay that person for its whole life to do that job, it's cheaper than building a software. So with the tools like Shwartz AI, I think that companies will automate and build more software. And building more software means that you need more people to validate that code, because I think there is no company right now or in the next few years that will just trust AI generated code and send it right away to the to production. So we always need experts. We always need developers, validators, people that will check that security is okay, that the code does exactly what it does. So we will have actually more job, but done differently, rather than getting a team of developers around the table and make them work for 6 months on a project. Developers will more work on multiple projects on shorter time.
I want to now talk about some of the troubling aspect or think that people have concerns over, or the caveats. One is that how much can a company trust Shred's code generation to write code which for business applications? Number one. Number two is that how much concern they should have about things like copyright or trade secrets.
Shreds AI actually build the software in a way that is divided to small units called shreds. A shred is a feature in your software, and these shreds are independent, isolated, and actually, when you push that code to be validated in the marketplace, you push a code that has no sense actually for the developer. It's just a small piece of software that has been published in the marketplace and has nothing to do with the overall image of the overall context. So it's really how can I say this? It's really hard for to say it's not true. It's not okay to say that we would have a copyright problem because if you want to reassemble the software, you need like to go through all the developers in the world that validated some piece of software and try to assemble all that and to reconstruct that original software. This is just not possible. And most importantly, we all developers sign NDA, sign contracts. You can just work with developers in US or developer in France or in your country so that you keep that contracts under your country's laws.
Are there any specific industries that you feel are ideal? There are a lot of industries which are super sensitive. Financials can be there, healthcare can be there. And then there are like a lot of industries, they're not that critical. So are there any use cases where you feel, hey, Shed is great for that? It's not ideal for those.
I think that Shwartz AI will be very useful for software in most cases, but maybe there will be some cases where you are going to build a software that relies on some so complicated logic that is even hard to explain and it's hard to generate with the AI technology we have now. If you are, for example, you are, I don't know, you are a NASA programmer and you are trying to calculate some astronomic stuff in that software to calculate trajectory or something, and it needs like some physics knowledge, math, and other stuff. So I think in this case, Shwartz AI can't. I don't. We've never tried it, but I think it won't produce something really useful. But these are cases that we are going to address in the future. But for 90% of the use case where you are just generating a code that manages sales, manages the energy workflow, your industry, things like this, Shwartz is definitely going to generate some very serious code.
And if I'm not wrong, the company is relatively new. You folks, launched the company early this year. Talk a bit about what kind of growth you have seen. If you can share, it depends on whether you can share some name or not. What are the use cases you have seen so far?
We've used Shwartz in few use cases. For example, in Stellantis, we've used Shwartz to generate some part of a software that will allow to open cars for the 14 brands of Stellantis using their smartphones, users smartphones. So the code is very critical. It's about security. It's about certificates, etc. And we've used Shwartz to generate some sensitive part of that code and to meet some deadlines. And the people in Stellantis was they was really impressed by what we've done with the model.
You also work closely with some of the energy company like RT from France. What kind of work are you doing with them, or how they use it?
Yes, actually, in RT we've used it to build apps that consumes data from different sources of how electricity is produced and how it is consumed, and aggregate all the data and produce some maps with live data updated on where the consumption are the most and where the production are the most important.
Can you also talk about the growth of the company? It's relatively new. What kind of growth you have seen in the last 6 months, which is a short period, and what are your plans for this year?
Well, actually, we can't talk about growth because the 6 months was about building the model, it was about testing it with the first customers and getting their feedback and learn from that. But we've launched the model publicly a few days ago, and we already get more than 1,000 people trying to access the beta, and we have 400 companies interested in testing that beta. So we are going now for a Series A campaign fundraising, and after that we are going to open more and more the beta access for more companies, and from that point we can start talking about growth.
This is something that you may not feel comfortable talking about at this point. We'll talk about that when things are ready. I'm talking about what else is in the pipeline. So just give us a glimpse, a teaser that these are the things we can expect from Shwartz this year.
We expect to open more than 30 languages and framework. For now, we only support a few, and we hope that in a few weeks or months, we'll open Shwartz AI for more than 30 frameworks and languages. And the marketplace also will open, and the first developers will start reviewing code and making money, and we will test this model and how its economic model and how developers feel about it, etc. And yeah, this is the program for this year. We try to get to find we are going to try to find the product market fit actually.
What kind of future you see of AI, Gen AI in the enterprise space, and do you feel that is it momentary hype, or you see that this is a technology which is as transformative, as game changing as was the Linux kernel or Docker containers or Kubernetes?
Well, I think it's like a game changer. Why? Because let me give you a small example. We are releasing next week the WordPress. Everybody knows what is WordPress. WordPress is that code, that CMS that manages or powers more than 800 million websites in the world, and it's been there. It's been around for the last 20 years. And we've just regenerated that code in less than 24 hours. A code that took years to develop and evolve, etc. So when you see things like this, you can't imagine that companies and businesses will continue to work as before. There is a game changer. There is something that will change in the companies, in the way we see software, we deal with software, we build software, we use software. And this will actually change few jobs, create new jobs. It's like any new technology. It's like a shift in the paradigm, and I think it's beneficial. I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing.
Have you also come across, of course, they are excited, but you have seen some concerns that they have, their apprehensions, which you're like, either we are mitigating them, or you're like, over a period of time, people will realize and that option will grow. What kind of concern are you seeing?
Well, the first concern I see is that they don't believe it. Actually, they say, "Yeah, that's interesting, but I'm sure this won't do what we are trying to do. It's too complicated. It's not possible." But after a few try, generally they are convinced. But the most important concern I face is about privacy and copyright. For example, RTE, we are in negotiation with RTE to integrate Shwartz in their workflow, and they wanted to have Shwartz installed in their servers so that nothing goes outside their ecosystem, their servers. This is some concerns, and Shwartz addresses them well because we allow actually to install the model in servers inside the company without any problem. And I think this is what we are going to do with RT. So the big companies have a lot of concerns because it's new technology and they are afraid of leaking data or code or things like this. But with startups, it's different. They are more open and they are okay to just use the tool. They just want to get their software built quickly and go to the market as fast as possible.
Soufiane, thank you so much for taking time out today to talk about Shreds. The problem that you're going to solve, I mean, AI, Gen AI is the next shiny object transforming industries, as you rightly mentioned. So it was really great to talk to you, see how companies like Stellantis or RT are leveraging your technologies. Thanks for all those great insights. And since, listening to you, it also seems there are a lot of things that are in your pipeline. So I would also look forward to talk to you again. But I really appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That was an interesting conversation. Thank you very much.